How's it going, guys and gals? This is Advanced Warrior here, and welcome back to another Advanced Wars by Web replay commentary. Today's replay commentary has a lot of backstory into it. So, if you haven't already, there is a very active community on the Advanced Wars by Web Discord server, and about 2 months ago, they announced that they were having a standard tournament, the 11th Discord Cup. And the games will be mainly played through standard. Now, at the time, I wanted to, dip my toes in standard and, give it a try, see if, how this different game mode, see how well I do in it. And so I kind of figured, yeah, I'll join this tournament because I feel like this is a great opportunity to, maybe get some experience. How far will I go? I didn't really know. I just wanted to learn. And so I was like, yeah, I'll just sign up and learn, and we'll just see how it goes. And to my shock, I received this kind of map here. Now, the map here is called End of Entropy. And if you're looking at this for the first time, you're probably going to be confused. Like green here has the top of the middle and the bottom two corners, and red, which is me, has both of these, has the bottom middle as well as the two top corners. This type of map style is called mixed base, where from each base you're going to encounter an opponent from basically all fronts. There are 4 bases, an airport for each player, and a very uncontested comm tower, and 4 labs which already belong to 2 for each army. The way the labs work is that they have 3 terrain stars, as you can see on the bottom. They do not repair, and if you capture these, if you capture all of these labs, then you win the game, similar to how you would win an HQ cap. So you definitely, if you lose one, that's the other one you're definitely going to want to protect if your opponent is going to win the game by lab captures. So kind of like two HQs to kind of protect. So yeah, I was like, oh man, it's like first standard game and it's this. But I still tried my best here. What I tried to go for on this map was I have 2 of these bases close here. I can maybe just try to dominate on the bottom side, and my opponent will I'll let my opponent have the top, I guess. Then I'll just capture what I can with these in the corners here, and vice versa here, but also go for this airport. This is probably my weakest side of the map because there's only 1 base. Here there's an airport and a base, and the bottom obviously 2 bases next to each other. What I kind of found a little bit interesting is that I thought, what if I have these 2 bases and maybe try to overwhelm this corner? Problem is the terrain. A little bit of a C tile here kind of makes you have to go down, and then you have to go through this around the C tile. And I kind of thought, okay, build air units and try to overwhelm one corner. But the way the map is designed, it felt natural to try to go a little bit hard on the bottom right side. Yeah, it was a mixed base, definitely a lot of calculations to work with. You're going to be facing enemies from all fronts. But yeah, it's a very interesting map format. I'm still not used to it to this day, but we'll see how this game goes. So this is my round 1 game of the 11th Discord Cup. Me and my opponent ended up picking the same CO, which this was a tier 2 game, and we both picked Sami. Sami's foot soldiers gain plus 30% attack and have a 50% capture bonus. Transports also gain plus 1 movement. Other direct units, however, lose 10% attack. So that kind of hurts, but it just means that Sami's infantry are really strong, and especially on a 4-base map where if you don't base skip and you keep producing infantry, Sami is a lot better there. Also, considering how many contested properties there are on this map because of how many bases there are and how many fronts there are, if there are not 2 units that can interrupt a capture, then more than likely Sami is going to be able to get that property. I saw this, and this is why I went with the girl that's on the corner of my facecam border. Her power is double time. I always forget this. I believe it's plus 50% to all infantry and mechs, and they can to attack, and they can all move +1. And victory, I said double time for the power. Victory March. Victory March is a super. I believe it gives all the infantry and mechs plus 70% offense and defense. It gives them 2 movement and allows them to capture a property instantly, no matter what the HP is. So it's definitely a very devastating game-ending power. Going to be a little bit interesting if either player is going to try to end the game, because there are labs instead of HQs here, and these labs do not give income. So we only have the income from our 4 bases, as you can see, 4,000. I get 2 extra infantry because I'm player 2. Yeah, because like it still puts me a half turn ahead in that context. Alright, so without further ado, let's see how it goes. So my opponent here goes for the immediate properties, and there's a capture chain here, which could lead to the lab, but the lab is very close to the base. Gonna be very hard to get. And just builds the rest with infantry. Okay, now I go in and I kind of do the same thing, but no buts, I'm sorry. I do go for this, I do go for these bases here because it's like immediate property capture, and I just get like a nice little capture chain here. Alright, and I decide to send 1 down here, probably doing the same thing with my opponent up here, and I go for the center property because this can get a little tricky to reach to, especially as 2 Sami players. So yeah, we're all just building infantry. Nothing much. And they're going for this property, which I can kind of understand that. This is the more dangerous property, so I see why my opponent would go for that. And it looks like they're going for these top properties. Like I said, 2 bases, try to dominate your closest properties. And my opponent does do the same thing down there. Alright, day 2. Let's see here. There's a nice little capture chain down here. 1, 2, 3. And that airport gives income too, so why would you not pass up? Why would you not capture that airport? And I do go for this city instead of the far city, which I can agree with my opponent on that one. And yeah, we're just continuing to build infantry. With like so little income and so many bases, you don't really want a base skip. Alright, and yeah, we're just gonna see like over 2 dozen infantry here on this map for a good while. Building a recon would mean that I would have to base skip, but one thing I heard on one base skip map is that if you build recons, you're kind of behind on a tank, and yeah, with 4 bases it's really hard to get a tank. Oh, my opponent does build a recon here, so I can kind of see that maybe trying to pressure me from capturing down here. Like this will get that property if I do try to capture it. Like recon comes in, then infantry comes in, this infantry dies, and I'm like lost on the property. But yeah, depending where he moves it, I kind of find that like a little hard to swallow, considering that this is my 2 base side down here. But we'll see what happens. Again, I'm just capturing properties. My opponent could damage this, but not interrupt it. Yeah, you can see why I went with Sami here. Alright, and I'm moving out here, and I build a tank in response to the recon down there. So right now, I'm kind of feeling a bit okay. So my opponent, let's see what he does. He goes for the attack, but it doesn't stop it entirely. So that's good to see. My opponent is moving up here. I'm not gonna get this full 3 chain, unfortunately, which is scary. I definitely gotta get my airport and not let my opponent deny it. But if I do go for this airport immediately, then they can't stop it again. So I chose Sami. I think Sami had the highest win rate on this map, actually. Okay, my opponent sends it up here, which is pretty good. You know, it's like, you know, kind of forgoes going away from the tank, as well as pressuring a side where I don't have a tank, which is up here, which is what I did consider probably my weakest side of the map. Only saved by rivers and sea tile here, and my opponent builds a tank and a mech. Mechs are great for traversing through heavy terrain, so definitely could come into play, but we'll just see what happens in the game. Alright, capturing all these properties, getting a damage lead against the infantry that tried to interrupt my capture, and I am very confident that I'll probably get this property here. Sending all my infantry down here, and I go for the attack here, not to interrupt the capture, but just, you know, just to get a free hit. And I do go for the airport, and I stand next to it just to like maybe threaten this or threaten any other infantry that gets any closer. And I do try to go for this property, hopefully. And my opponent will have to choose from either one, unless the tank backup comes in. Alright, and I try to get this property. I don't know why I did this. Maybe I was just trying to get more properties, and yeah. I'm kind of thinking like, okay, you know, just like push some of my units here and then get a tank up here and maybe try to consolidate on this right side here. And I build a recon because I kind of recognize the you know, the lack of strength from here, so I have a recon to harass all these infantry. But there's a lot of planes here, and that recon won't have fantastic mobility. Alright, so day 6 for my opponent. My opponent captures this property, and he does this. He puts my recon right behind my tank, and then completely locks my tank. It's not showing now, but I can't escape from this, and this tank is probably going to move in and get a really strong first strike. This hurt to see a lot. It's day 6, and I know I'm already losing this tank. So yeah, that was something I wasn't aware of, and I am going to be severely punished for it. My opponent is in range to completely stop that capture, unfortunately for me. And you know, they try to get another cheap shot, but you know, we're Sami. We're going to get our properties, unless you drop us super low. My opponent decides to threaten this property, which is okay. That means I can get this one. They're also kind of threatening my lab as well. I'm threatening his lab too, so definitely got some pressure down there. And they build a tank down there, so I'll be less reluctant to try to go for properties down there. Okay, now my turn 6. I came back and I saw this. I was like, well, I just lost my tank. Let's just see what I can do up here. So capture this property, then the airport, then the property down here. I move my recon down here to start harassing these infantry, and I do go for this property here, and I kill that infantry. I protect my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I protect my my infantry here, and I have like 4 infantry. One of them is damaged, but is like, you know, halfway through capturing a lab. So if I capture this, then I can like try to put a lot more pressure up here. Problem is, it's starting to hurt with this one tank like being lost here. So when I said this was a free hit, that was definitely not a free hit. And so I just, you know, try to protect my lab, and I go for the recon because I know killing Sami's infantry is like pretty good, but I went for the recon because this recon can no longer harass. Usually in fog, if you have a very injured recon, they're obviously a lot more valuable because of their obviously a lot more valuable because of their vision. But in standard, when they can like harass foot soldiers, an injured recon isn't going to do a whole lot. And I'm aiming for this property here, kill that infantry off the left side, and I build another tank. So I'm like, well, you know, about to lose that one, might as well just like, you know, sort of chain it. Alright, and my opponent doesn't interrupt this lab, just, you know, kind of having the idea of killing Sami's infantry to like completely kill her capture game. And yeah, oops, This recon here, it still had another thing to do, which I just forgot about. It can block captures, so that stung, and my opponent continues the trap and gets a very, very good first strike on that tank. And I can't reach this tank. Probably should have committed my tank out further, or unless I couldn't reach that far. Yeah, we're having a little bit of a scramble on this side as well. And my opponent builds a tank on this bottom side, which is isolated from the rest. Kind of like what I did up here, and it's like, you know, right now not paying dividends, but my opponent was rated a bit higher than me, so let's just see here. He built another tank actually. I had enough for 2 tanks and no base skips. Alright, so let's see here. I capture the property on the top, the bottom, and I capture the lab. So after this, I kind of thought, okay, just hold this and then maybe try to put some pressure on the top right side. And I just get the good strikes on the infantry. Recon dies because of Sami's very powerful infantry. Mech here definitely threatening the my city here, but I have 2 units in response. Moved this recon up because the tank was down here, so it felt pretty fine for me. Start capturing one of my opponent's properties. They could bring the tank to the other side, which I personally would enjoy seeing. And I kill off that infantry. And I kind of send a little bit to the left to like try to support this slightly weaker side here. Put my tank on a city because that's the best terrain here. And I build a battlecopter, very likely threatening, very likely gonna force an anti-air from my opponent. And I kill that infantry. Build another tank from the top. Really regret this actually. I feel like building it at the bottom would be a lot better. Because building at the top, it takes so long to reinforce. So calling out the mistake by me. And I kind of have an artillery here just to like, you know, maybe threaten all this infantry and like getting them to back off from my lab. And I'm just like, you know, kind of put myself here. Can't remember why I didn't move this infantry. Probably should have preserved it and like maybe for a victory march in the future. But that's on me. And my opponent gets the strike instead of attacking. Probably because these 2 infantry here would definitely stop that capture. And my opponent builds a battlecopter. Building first, I do here is a bad habit, unfortunately. And so, yeah, the tank is just like, you know, moving down here. I have another tank up here instead of building one down here. So, that sucks. My opponent has a full tank. Obviously had to repair it, but now there's like 2 tanks facing each other, and they're both on good properties, and there's a battlecopter here. And he's protected the tank from first strikes, which is completely fine. And I lost his infantry up here. My opponent's going to get that property up top. I'm like slightly behind on the income, but I actually might pull it up. Tank moves in. It just will cover all these units here. So putting a recon, my recon on the city, is probably not going to be a good idea. My opponent builds an anti-air, perfect response to the battlecopter with the closest base there. And they just build more tanks. And infantry are just moving around and about. Kind of opens it, but I can't attack this tank from 2 angles. I wouldn't have been able to kill it though, because I am only Sami with 100% attack power. And I get the first strike here. I didn't first strike with this 5 HP infantry up here, because these 2 would kill, and then I could start capturing. So it'd be like a 3-day capture, albeit, but I'll hopefully get this one with enough infantry pressure and battlecopter pressure. There's an anti-air there, and I have my artillery here, protecting anything that would attack my infantry on that city. Alright, and I kind of threatening this one. We'll just see what my opponent does. But I still do go for the damage here. I think I tried to go for a kill, but I was unsuccessful with that. Okay, so I damaged this one. I damaged the infantry over on the left with my recon, so I can have this infantry attack from here. And I just, you know, try to protect this property here. And I see this battlecopter here, and I'm going to build my own anti-air. Likely here because this is where some of my strongest forces are, and it's like closest to the airport. So I move my tank over. So yeah, this is an interesting situation for my opponent. They could go for the city, but they're facing a tank. This infantry won't reach, and this infantry is back here, so maybe not as interesting. This anti-air could maybe stop me, but this anti-air has one job, and that is to get that battlecopter. Oh, I missed it. Okay, so this was where I built it. Yeah, I built a tank here. When I said that I was going to build an anti-air, this was actually a misclick. I was it was like after I had my my one tank that was just like trapped from what I thought was like a free move. I should have used the move planner, and I should have, you know, been a bit more careful, because that misclick on the tank, instead of like the immediate response to an anti-air, like maybe I could have built one here, and then I probably would have like felt a bit better. But nope, I built a tank up here, and yeah, I don't have enough funds for an anti-air anymore, so yeah, just like 2 mistakes in one go. I built a tank here, and I built a tank here, I built a tank there. When I wanted to build an anti-air here, my backup should have been this other base here, but I went with another tank, and now I'm just like, you know, no money for an anti-air, so I guess the goal is just to survive and see what I could do. My opponent's recapturing their lab, so it loosens the pressure I should put on this tank, on this lab up here. And battlecopter moves up. Oh wow, that was so unlucky for my opponent. Yeah, I managed to kill that, thankfully. They build another tank at the bottom. Anti-air is threatening my battlecopter. Really can't do a lot with this battlecopter anymore. Gets the first strike here, but I'll repair back to 7 HP. Sacrificing damage, killing that infantry, and getting 1 damage on the recon, but takes 8 damage from their infantry. Hard to say if it's worth it anymore. And yeah, my opponent moves in. Tank barely outside of artillery range, so I can't go for that property. My opponent captures with the 7 HP infantry, which is very interesting. Nope, they blocked off my tank up here, so I can't even interrupt that up there. So yeah, you could tell my opponent was really, really good. And they have like 2 tanks up here, because you know, threatens my tank on the top side. I obviously don't want to stay here, and a 3rd tank, because why not? Alright, and after this turn, I resigned. On day 9. I had some people question why I was resigning at this moment in the game, and it was because I made like 2 mistakes back to back, and it really felt like it was hurting. Let's see here. There's I generated a bit more income, you know, which was nice. It was the start of my turn, so I definitely would have had some more unit income, but I was definitely behind on unit value, especially getting my tank trap, misclicking the wrong unit, and then when I had the chance to get that unit out again, I ended up building another unit on a completely different side of the map, and those 3 mistakes was what led me to believe that I was not going to personally kind of led me to feel that I was not going to do well in this game. Like, I felt like I couldn't recover from my mistakes. But yeah, I remember I had my opponent go why the heck did you resign? I was like, well, in this situation, I really feel like 69,000 to 91,000. Yeah, I was really very behind on I was very behind on the unit value. Would have taken time to get this property, but this Battlecopter here, like, what can I do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Putting it here wouldn't save it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not even here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. Probably. Not too sure about this anti-air here. If I move the Battlecopter here, down here, but yeah, my opponent has a response for my Battlecopter. I don't have a response for this Battlecopter, and this Battlecopter can go for this tank if it wanted to. So I can't stay in this area, so I have no defense. If I build one here, Battlecopter would just move further up. I build an anti-air up here, Battlecopter would just move further down. In that case, I probably could have built another anti-air here, but yeah, I was about to lose in the income lead, and I was already behind so much on unit value. Like, let's see what was here. 8 tanks, 1 Battlecopter. Me, 5 tanks and 1 Battlecopter. Yeah, I was like, yeah, this is not going well for me. Resign. Hey, sorry for wasting your time. But I do definitely wanted to show this game, whether I won or lost here. The real killer was like panicking over a mistake of building a tank on the wrong base, or like misclicking, and then building another tank immediately after. Also kind of sucked. Definitely another thing to consider was that like definitely use the move planner. If I could just go back to that tank attack here. Yeah, also definitely realize that this is not a free attack, especially when you have like impassable terrain on one edge and there's like 3 other units in range. Because they're the same, like you just saw right here, like, you know, I'm right here, and my opponent had the infantry to go here and the recon to go back here, and then the tank built the last turn to come around and get that valuable first strike. And they kept it trapped for like 2 turns, so yeah, that sucked. And then just like skipping ahead to this turn, day 8, where I built a tank when I meant to build an anti-air, panicked, and I was like, okay, let's just try to recover by building a tank up here because they have like so many tanks on this side. And then realized, I was like, oh wait, there was another base next to this front. Could have built the anti-air, but no, not happening. I thought about maybe like getting some units damaged and trying to get 400 funds to like join cap and get an anti-air, but I realized way too late that that my anti-air isn't coming this turn, and yeah, this led to my opponent like getting a good control here, you know, getting their lab back, so I can't put as much pressure here anymore. Losing a lot of units down here. I think I've overextended probably. Trapping my Battlecopter, not as badly as the tank that was over here, but this Battlecopter still had places to go. It's just not where I wanted it to go. And they blocked off this top side here so they can get their property back to get the income lead. And they just like have, you know, a large number of tanks on the top side. And this is their 2 base side, so I can understand that, but feeling like I had no options left, and all my blunders, I resigned on this game here. Probably could have just maybe held on and see if my opponent made any mistakes and then capitalized on that. But I didn't have that kind of mentality at that time. I was like, yeah, you know, small mistakes at the beginning of the game will really, really cost you. And that is my situation. And that was my mentality on this game. So, definitely a very underwhelming Discord Cup game from me, but I said I wanted to learn, and learned I definitely did. Day 6 and day 8 were definitely the huge turns, the highlights of these turns, where I was like, ooh, yeah, this was bad, and I was like, oh no, I built the wrong unit, I panicked, and I was like, oh, I could have recovered, but because I panicked, I didn't probably recover, and yeah, resign. Alright, yeah, so, again, guys and gals, sorry for an underwhelming game, but I still wanted to share my experience with the Discord Cup. I wanted to join the last one that was for Fog, but I missed the deadline to sign up, so that was unfortunate for me. I also wanted to showcase that, yeah, there are, like, you know, still tournaments out here for Advance Wars. Like, I do have a Tiny Wars tournament, but there definitely still are Advance Wars by Web tournaments. If you're on the Discord, you can definitely be up to date with the announcements and see if you're interested in trying them out. I was about to say I had fun. I didn't hate it, though. I didn't have fun, but I didn't hate it. I learned, and we'll just see what I can do with what I've learned and bring it to my future games. Alright, guys and gals, thank you so much for watching. Definitely more replays to come in the future. Probably some Global League, a lot of collabs that I have planned with many other people as well. Yeah, it's looking good for content. Thumbs up. Yeah, it's starting to look good for content. Alright, guys and gals, I am Advanced Warrior, and you all have my warmest regards. Please take care.